Throughout my 4.5 years at Gamerlegion, I've scouted and successfully integrated more than 15 new players, creating rosters that have reached multiple majors. But what makes me choose a specific player? And what qualities do I look for when signing a new player? Those are the questions that we are going to answer in this video.
But first, today's sponsor is Skin Baron, a safe and trusted marketplace where you can buy CS skins up to 30% cheaper than usual using real money. They support tons of payment methods, including credit card, bank transfer and more, so getting a new fresh skin takes just minutes. Got skins to sell? Sell them for real cash. High tier items only carry a tiny 2% fee, so it's an easy choice if you want to cash out. And if you're picky about how your next skin looks, you'll love the filter menu for finding that perfect float. Skin Baron is a certified German company with a solid reputation, co-founded by the current performance coach of Big, Toby. Sound good? Click the link in the description and use code ASH to grab your next skin at a discount.
Before I get into talking about specific traits, I'd just like to highlight the role of perseverance when pursuing professional career in Counter-Strike. I've had many people message me saying that they don't understand why they've not had many offers for better teams, and then they'll link me to a HLTV profile with 15 maps played in the last 3 months with okay stats. Sample size is always important. When I'm scouting players, I want to see as much sample size as possible. Everybody goes through slumps and high periods, and you just don't want to pick someone up or discount someone who might just be going through one of those periods. The more exposure that you can get into the highest tier games available, the better. I worked with Mezzy, who now plays with Team Vitality, for many years. And for almost 2 of those years, we were hard stuck in ESEA Advanced, unable to progress to the next league. This also included 3 different occasions where we were on the verge of being promoted to the Mountain Dew League, which featured full-time salaried teams almost exclusively, and we failed at the last hurdle every single time. This was a period where for many in my team it became demotivating, and most of our players eventually transitioned over to Valorant, and they would become the best in the world for a while there. Mezzy, however, was always very consistent in his routine and practicing daily, and this never changed. Eventually he earned his chance to move to Gamerlegion, and from there he never looked back. We played a majority of our games with almost no media coverage and away from HLTV. The only thing that both he and I were interested in was improvement, and make our progression through the elite levels of Counter-Strike. Alright, so what are the scouts and coaches looking for when eventually you do become noticed? One of the most obvious traits is consistency, and in this metric I'm looking mostly at how a player is able to perform over a long period, and especially while things are not going perfectly results wise. I believe this shows a solid base level and ability to be able to learn and be less negatively affected by different negative circumstances. It's easy to be good when everything is great, but the best players are still willing to trust their instincts and play their usual way regardless of how the game is playing out. There might be some instances where you need to adapt, but in general I'm looking for players who are not hesitating just because they aren't hitting their shots or having as much luck. If you believe you have a good understanding of the game and good knowledge, then there has to be a confidence to apply it to game no matter how poorly that game might be going. Often when scouting for a player, I will look at the player's worst game statistically and see if they're still able to play their way when nothing is working. One of the main reasons that I was willing to gamble on moving for Flamus was that he would constantly try to have an impact on his games. And this showed a mentality of being willing to make mistakes in order to win the game, which is a huge plus for any coach out there. The ultimate conclusion though is that I simply want to see a similar individual playstyle regardless of the outcome. One of the most crucial areas for improvement is in being able to watch your own demos back and analyse them and knowing what to look for when watching other players. Most people simply just don't know how to watch a demo properly, and the most common mistake that I see is people focusing just on the person they are watching and looking for trick plays and new angles, when in reality it's the reactions to what is going on across the map that you really want to look at. Let's look at an example of Rops playing ramp against the Mongols. Rops isn't a player who plays a lot of double AWPing, but the most notable thing here is that he starts around under heaven and then later transitions to AWPing at the back box to get a deeper angle. Now if we only focus on Rops, it seems like he's just taking a position from the start that would allow him to take a free kill if the T's do rush ramp, and then escape quickly. And later, because the smoke is about to die, he moves into a better position to take these long range fights. But the whole story just isn't there. One of the major reasons that Rops is around this area is due to Apex and ZywOo both starting aggressively outside. And this means that not only will anybody be able to help Rops with a fast rotation, but also that A has no fast rotation. So Rops is filling in the gap. By being in a deeper position to begin with, he is able to punish any fast ramp play by taking a free kill and then falling back, which then allows his teammates to rotate for him down the vent. But also if there is a fast A round, then he is so quickly on A as a third person, and this will allow him a chance of another free kill due to being here much faster than anticipated, whilst Apex and ZywOo were fighting through main. He has taken the entire round situation into account and made his own position make sense. We even see that he positions himself towards the back box when ZywOo begins to move closer to him. Consistency in attitude. So how can I as a coach of a different team know anything reliable about your attitude? Well, simply, I will ask your current and ex-teammates and their coaches. My most common interaction with other coaches is when they ask me about players who I've previously worked with, and vice versa, so this is far from uncommon. If you have a habit of showing up to practice late, bringing very few new ideas to theory time, forgetting tactics, showing a late attention span analysis, and many other things, then this is where your attitude will become exposed. I'm looking to hear that no matter how poor results are, that you are always on time, always working hard, and always trying your best, and that every teammate is enjoying playing with you. In my team, I have to have similar personalities in our group in order to keep up a good work rate of high quality, consistent work to get the best out of everyone and exceed our expectations. This is just as important as having talent. And if you lack in any of these areas, then you have to be much better than anyone else to earn your chance, due to the negative impact that we worry you might have on the team and other players. There are many examples of extremely talented players failing to make it at Tier 1, and then even struggling to find spots in much lower teams due to the reputation that they have made for themselves. Nobody wants to spend a large amount of time looking after one troubled player just to try and keep the group happy. So don't be that player. Pay attention to your theory and analysis, and take care of your mental state. A good level of communication. You need to be able to offer ideas in games and mid-round calls. Otherwise, people at the same level of you but having better communication are now more valuable to the team and anyone else interested in signing them. I'm looking for players who are able to assist the in-game leader and have an impact on the team outside of simply killing people or having good utility. At the top level, we need all 5 players to be given their maximum input, and no matter what positions you are playing in, you have the key information in those areas which needs to be relayed to the rest of the team. This might simply on the CT side might just be noting that you have no more utility and need rotation, or on the T side spotting a gap that can be exploited and then offering a suggestion for teammates to come and exploit it. This is something that you can even practice on deathmatch by yourself. Communicating where you're clearing and where opponents can be, even if there's nobody else in a call with you. It's also a great way to practice being able to shoot and talk at the same time, so that you're able to give vital information a moment earlier, which then could have a massive impact on a round. So let's say at this point, after a year or two of giving it your best go, that you're starting to become noticed at a higher level. The last thing that you'll be wanting to do is forcing yourself to have to be 10 to 20% better than similar players just because of poor habits or poor traits that you've created. This can be as basic as changing your tone of voice when things don't go your way, sliding down the microphone after mistakes, or criticizing teammates whenever frustration arises.
Just say the name. Stop complaining, please.
There has to be an element of trust in a team. And these things we just mentioned will damage that trust, and this will lead to a weaker team environment and cohesion. The same has to also be said with communication. Those players who are constantly speaking, counting opposition smokes, saying what they want to do and what they're doing in a round, and offering solutions to win a round are much more valuable than players who only speak the obvious information and focus more on their crosshairs. This is a trait that all young players need to be practicing, as the habit can become very difficult to break after thousands of hours of poor communication. I'll probably do a video down the line on what I perceive to be good communication, but for now, let's keep it simple. And for those young players out there who are watching this, simply aim to be the most vocal person in your group without flooding the comms with pointless information. Be willing to make mistakes so that you can learn from them quicker. After all, a bad plan done together is more effective than a good plan done separately. The same issue can even be said from those who are frequently tilting. A player who is quick to anger needs to be significantly better than another transfer target that us coaches are looking at. Anger and tilt will always be a problem in teams, and will only make your teammates worse. So if we are willing to take that gamble on a player with a much poorer attitude, then he needs to be much better than all the other options. Like I said earlier, we coaches will be asking your ex-teammates and other coaches to find their opinions of you, and we will be able to find the truth eventually. There's a famous event that happened many years ago in the Premier League in English football. There used to be a culture of footballers going out and partying, all playing the same tactics and smoking and having beers before and after games. A French manager named Arsene Wenger joined Arsenal Football Club, and he brought a belief with him that footballers should follow a strict diet and training routines to get the most out of them. This led to a total evolution in football in England, and now players are often discarded at a young age due to their lack of physicality, because the standards have risen so much. In Counter-Strike, I believe that player attitude has shifted massively in the last few years. Whereas before, talent was everything, and players were allowed to be lazy and toxic as long as they were good enough. In my current team, all 5 players regularly go to the gym, and this is not something that we've even asked from them. They are also much more attentive in theory than players 5 years ago, and have a real element of professionalism. I mention this because I believe it's a crucial personality trait to be professional for any new player out there. And whilst academy teams do accelerate this process, for many out there, they will never join these teams. And instead, I would advise looking to further that professionalism in your own time by reading about others and following interviews. Aim to be the player that you would love to play with, rather than the escalated Twitch profile that you see live streaming who's just aiming to be entertaining. Unfortunately, there are no ways to cut corners in order to become the best person and player that you can be. Hard work and a constant positive attitude will always eventually succeed, provided you are able to keep an open mind. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please leave a like and subscribe.